done under the auspices of the joint committee between Legacy and NRC, which is fantastic to work with, embedded with NRC, but also with all of the enthusiasm and knowledge that Legacy bring. And it's about Nigeria's rail heritage, past, present and future. So why past, present and future is that we want to use the past as a way to think about the future. We want to see what Nigeria's railway did in the past in terms of joining the country together, in terms of its economic role, in terms of its social role, in terms of the architecture and the sense of place, and then look at the railway developments that are going on today and how do they mirror each other or differ? How do they make us think about things the same way or differently? The second reason for this exhibition is for us to think about the role of heritage in Nigeria today. You know, there were 30 years in which history wasn't even taught in schools as a compulsory subject. And so people have different relationships to the past. And we have an amazing history here with the railways. And as we're developing, it can't just be about let's bulldoze everything and forget about it and just put something new there instead. It's also about what should we keep, what should we preserve, what should we conserve, what should we get people to engage with and how, and make people think about it in that way. And to do that, we need to think about the restoration projects that Legacy are doing. We need to think about the railway properties around. We need to think about things like the buildings, the engines, and also the people. The human angle, railway retirees and all of the things they know and all of the things that families know, all that social history. So the exhibition is a collaboration between Legacy and the Oxford Martin School, and it's done under the auspices of the joint committee between Legacy and NRC, which is fantastic to work with, embedded with NRC, but also with all of the enthusiasm and knowledge that Legacy bring. And it's about Nigeria's rail heritage, past, present and future. So why past, present and future is that we want to use the past as a way to think about the future. We want to see what Nigeria's railway did in the past in terms of joining the country together, in terms of its economic role, in terms of its social role, in terms of the architecture and the sense of place, and then look at the railway developments that are going on today and how do they mirror each other or differ? How do they make us think about things the same way or differently? Yep. So just a couple of words here to follow the exhibition. You're going south to north here from Ido to Nguru, if you follow around there, and it has highlights. When you go around here, you'll meet the Bauchi Light Railway that used to go from Zaria up to Jos. And when you come, that used to connect down to Kafanchan, to the other Eastern Line, which you'll meet there coming from Eastern Line down from Maiduguri through Gombe, through Enugu down to Port Harcourt.
Wow. Very good understanding of Nigeria.
And I think from about half an hour from now, we also asked some of our young volunteers to come and disturb you a little bit and harass you when you're moving. They might ask you one or two questions about how you see the exhibition. So please interact with them and give them your impressions so we can feed back.
Well, that is what the government is doing presently with the railway modernization project. For young people who have the opportunity of riding trains, and with the connectivity we are planning for the Nigerian railway, you'll be able to move from here to Kano, from Lagos to Kano. You'll be able to move from Port Harcourt to Calabar. And so you're going to find that the government is trying its efforts to restore railway back to its pride.
Well, I mean, we're situated in the railway compound, and so it's very, very important that people who live in and around the railway compound know about the history. And so this is an exhibition which will take people from the early days right up to the present time to sort of know about, how the railways actually contributed to the economic growth and prosperity of Nigeria, and how it can still contribute further to that economic prosperity.
It's been a very interesting experience. I learned a lot about the Nigerian Railway Organization, so much that I didn't know about the origin of the railways in Nigeria as a whole. So it was definitely worthwhile. I can understand the amount of work that has gone into it so far, and I definitely applaud the team, and I hope that they continue to preserve our legacy and that other people learn a lot more about what it is that they've been doing and all the work that has gone into it so far, because there's a huge part of our Nigerian legacy in the railway organizations.
Whatever we are going to talk about this great country, is it governance, is it administration, is it engineering, name it, railway remains the citadel of whatever we can think of about the good old days of this great country.
The thing is, we do have a lot of school children who come here, but definitely, you know, obviously we are trying to improve on things all the time, trying to, you know, improve on things within the museum, you know, situation where we can actually have exhibitions and showcase things. But of course, it takes money to actually invite students along and so to make sure that they have a very good experience. And so obviously we have to fundraise around those things. And you know, in doing that, we would be able to sort of have more groups of children to come in, and students, you know, universities, and to look around the exhibits, and also sort of, you know, have people talk to them and explain things.
It's done all over the world, and Nigeria, I'm sure Nigeria has a large land mass. Nigeria is always the giant of Africa in everything, both in land, in space, and everything. If you go to the UK, if you find out that people hardly use their cars, you have your car, you park, you get to the train station, you leave your car, you go where you're going to go. Britain, United Kingdom has a very good rail network, rail and road network, and I see that in Nigeria too, because we have a long expanse of rail tracks.
I've come to realize the rich history that we have resident in the transportation sector, especially in the railway. So there are a lot of things I never knew existed, and I've heard this come out from a whole lot of people, including people who work in the sector, who never knew the depth of history and historical heritage that we have in the railway sector. So I'm very, very happy with what Legacy 95 is doing in terms of preservation and preservation of our railway heritage. I'm really excited with what I saw today.
Right now, when you have the ban on keke and marwa, Okada, there's a huge issue with people being able to get from place to place to work, home, and then that affects their safety and their ability to make money. So yeah, having a train system that works seems like we're moving forward by returning to what was, which is beautiful. It's a circle.